Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the main event. You here with me, Daniel?
And Aaron.
Aaron, we are now on to the Wednesday fixtures, so we're rolling on to Group A. Before we get started, I really am terrible with the alphabet, clearly. Before we get started, feel free to subscribe to our channel, the main event, but also we are working in association with Gallowgate Shots this season, so give them a follow as well for any Newcastle-based content. You can be a member to their site for $2.99. You get loads of benefits, including access to Telegram groups and exclusive content. If you're interested, you can pay absolutely nothing to me and Aaron, wear skivvies and do everything for free. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at UCL Fantasy Pod or the app formerly known as, thanks to Elon. And let's get cracking into Group A, Aaron. Aaron, what are your initial thoughts on this one, mate?
I think there's only one team to start with for Group A.
Copenhagen?
You know it. Copenhagen. Well, I think a lot of people are trying to figure out what Galatasaray assets to get.
Yes.
And should we start there?
Should we start with Galatasaray?
Yeah.
Or Copenhagen? Which one? Should we just mix and match?
Well, Copenhagen are getting Plzeňa'd.
Are they? Are you taking the executive decision to Plzeňa Copenhagen?
Yes.
Fantastic. I'm happy with that. For anyone that's wondering why, they qualified. So I've not looked at the league. They've qualified with the 0-0 draw, 3-3 draw, a 1-0 win, and a 1-1 draw. Yeah. They actually played 5 games. I didn't look at the first one.
They are currently top of their league.
They are currently top of the Danish, is it Pro League, Super League? Exalhagvensen? Something long and Elkenvens, something weird. I can't pronounce it. Whatever it is.
Yeah. It is Superliga.
Oh, just Superliga. I thought it was full of E's and V's and K's and L's. Regardless, we saw this not last year. Was it last year? It was last year. Copenhagen, Sevilla, Dortmund, Man City. That was the group, I think.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yes, last season. They didn't do great. I think the best result was against Man City, 0-0. Sounds ridiculous thing to say. They didn't do well. They just drew 0-0 with Man City. But Man City were down to 10 men, and they missed a pen, and they had a goal disallowed, and there was all other stuff going on. I don't even think they played well against Sevilla, who were rubbish at the start of last year. But there's just no one. I'm like looking at them, and there's just no one that I want. There's no one that you want. So let's get on to Galatasaray. Galatasaray have made some wild signings. They've signed Mauro Icardi, maybe Wilfried Zaha, Angelino, Hakim Ziyech, Tete. I may have missed others out. I think they have. I'm sure they made 2 transfer deadline day signings, and I cannot remember who they were.
You might also Davison Sanchez.
That was it.
And Domblé. They've got Dries Mertens. Yeah, they've got.
Yeah, Dries Mertens wasn't signed this season, was he?
No, I'm just saying they've got him.
Yeah, but Sanchez and Dombele, they were the 2 that were signed on transfer deadline day that I could not remember. Cracking start the season, 3-0 win, 1-0 win, 3-2 win, 2-1 win. The issue from Galatasaray fans seems to be that they aren't playing very well as a team. It seems to be Muslera and the Mauro Icardi show. Now, Mauro Icardi is playing very well with 2 outfield goals, a penalty goal. He's won a pen, and he has an assist in his last 3 games. So that's, for anyone that doesn't watch football, that's good. Especially at his price at 9 million. Can you squeeze him in against Copenhagen?
I think as it goes in terms of like punts for the first match day, if you are wildcarding, limitless, and whatever, like Icardi for the first match day is an unbelievable punt.
I agree. I think this is the maverick pick of everyone in the game. I think if you are just that way inclined, you can go for this. I can see him bagging a brace in this game against Copenhagen at home. I think he's as good a pick as anyone else. My issue with it is that these are Wednesday players, and I don't like punty Wednesday players. I like the other players. I like that Harry Kane feels safe. I like that Victor Osimhen feels safe. Mauro Icardi doesn't feel safe. If this was a Tuesday game, he'd be my team. And I'd be bolstering everywhere else. I wouldn't be having 4.5 million mids. I'd be having João Cancelo, it right back, all that sort of stuff. But because it's Wednesday and I'm a bottle job, I just don't think I can do it ahead of all those other strikers. When especially I'm trying to get more Tuesday players in, like I want Mbappe. I don't know how I justify it. The other player for Galatasaray, Aktakoglu, left winger, goal and assist in 4 games. Granted, they all came in 1 game. But at 6 million, any joy with him, do you think?
No, I think similar to what you were saying, where like I think with the Wednesday, with the Wednesday fixtures, knowing that it's going to flip as well, you want to take advantage of the Tuesday fixtures, guaranteed points, and that these players are just meant to top up. I don't know how I'd feel about having all these forwards and then or having all these players and then topping up with a 6 million. I guess kind of like what you were saying, where it's a bit too punty for me, anyways. So I would be against it, but yeah, I don't think that risk feels as good as the Icardi ones and the Zaha ones and stuff.
I
like
agree. I mean, I don't think Zaha's been playing for them yet. I know he didn't. He's had a few fitness issues at the end of last season with Palace as well. But Dries Mertens, obviously, I think people will know him. I don't know what his ownership's like. He's got 1 goal and 4. I think it was an absolute worldie.
0%.
Rightly so. Good. Well done. I can't see him doing too much. Elsewhere, you're looking at defence. So Angelino, the hero.
Match day 1 hero.
Match day 1 hero a couple of years ago. 18 points, was it? Yeah, well, I think that came from one of these where I had one of Leipzig's defenders in, and I think you turned around and went, "Oh, like Angelino's the same price," and I slapped myself in the face. Went, "Oh, yeah, he's going in." Yeah. He got an 18-pointer.
Yeah,
that might have been a
There's always a wing back that has a match day 1.
Grimaldo last year,
and then
Tagliafico the first year we did this.
Angelino the year in the middle.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to try and figure out who this year's is.
And that's the problem with Haaland playing Tuesday, because these are Tuesday captaincy punts. We do recommend that you captain wingbacks on a Tuesday. But when Haaland plays Red Star Belgrade, I think you're mental to not captain him personally.
Yeah.
But is Angelino the same player? Well, he scored in his last game, but they're not keeping very many clean sheets.
And he has hair.
Pardon?
And he has hair now.
He's got hair now.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. Has it made him a better defender? Because he wasn't a very good defender. No. He's a fairly tragic defender. He's very good going forward. I also think he suits being a wing back, not a left back. Galatasaray play with a back 4. And as other people have said, they're not playing very well. Nelson, 4.5 million. Bardaki, 4.5 million. Bayram, 4 million, but I just can't see him playing. He's played 1 game this season, so I'll probably avoid him. Is there anyone else from Galatasaray, or is this an Icardi or bust situation, or would you go Angelino?
Everyone in this team is a punt. Icardi is the most owned at 3%. Muslera 2%, which is for a 5 million keeper against Copenhagen. Isn't the worst.
It's not the worst.
There is the goalkeeper that we're kind of leaning towards. But I think I don't know if people have auto-picked their team and then not realize what day the fixtures fall on and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. But then, other than, everyone in this team is a differential. So I think it is literally because they don't know much about this team. So hopefully we have helped and that you are going to take a few risks with this team, because the points are there to be had, especially if you're using a chip early.
Score.
3-1.
Yes, exactly the same. A Cardi brace and an assist.
It's weird that we had Copenhagen as like Plzeňad, but we have them scoring. We just
Yeah, but I
just
don't know
can't
who's
pick-
going to score.
I just don't know who.
Probably Larson.
But with an Angelino defense, I can't see them keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah. The defense in general is a bit of a mess. And the midfield isn't brilliant. But yeah, I'd be avoiding Copenhagen. I just think it's a cardio bust for me personally.
They are also the early fixture on the Wednesday.
Ooh, so we'll get to see lineups like that, Maz. Bayern Munich versus Man United. So Bayern Munich at home, crucially, in terms of transfers in.
I don't think they signed anyone of note.
I don't think so. Let's check my notes. Rafael Guerrero.
Yeah, I guess that was a big one in Bundesliga. But
Konrad Lehmer, another big Bundesliga signing. Kim from Napoli. And Sir Harold of House Kane for a cool 100 and something million euros.
Just trying to find a Lewandowski replacement. Aren't they? Really had to search at the bottom of the barrel for that.
And they've had equally, if not more, players out. So Sabitza's gone. I mean, he was gone anyway. Benjamin Pavard's gone. He's off to Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Gravenberch is at Liverpool. Sadio Mane's in C. And Luca Hernandez has gone back to the homeland. He plays for Paris Saint-Germain. So, had a lot of players out. They've had a few players in. Neuer's injured. Musiala was injured. I don't know if he's still injured. He trained, we're recording, I forgot what day. It's Tuesday, I think, but it's late. He trained. I don't know how fit he's going to be. But let's start with Bayern Munich's goalkeeper, Ulreich. So some people may decide to go for him. I'm sure Aaron will tell me what percentage of the game I've gone for him at 4.5 million. I'd like to suggest that you don't because he's crap. He has conceded 2 goals to Victoria Plzeňa last year. A team that by name got Victoria Plzeňa. So I don't particularly rate him. I think they're a much weaker team and he's in the side. If they're 4 games this season, 3 in the league, 1 in the cup, they got absolutely battered in the cup. And in the league, they've kept 1 clean sheet. They won 4-0. Otherwise, they've won 3-1 and 2-1. So they are winning, other than that game against Leipzig. The team is quite settled, other than that. Mazraoui, so we'll start with the defence. Mazraoui is the right back currently. Upamecano and Kim are the centre-backs. And Alphonso Davies is the left back. It'll be interesting if Rafa Guerrero could nail down a spot. However, my instinct is that he'd probably come into the midfield like he did for Dortmund. Don't know if you remember those wild days of him playing central attacking midfield for Dortmund in the league. Because I can't see him usurping Alphonso Davies. We've criticised his output on this podcast before because he's a fantastic player. And people seem to just remember that assist against Barcelona. But his output has actually been quite low.
Yeah.
3 assists in those 3 league games so far. And he looks very dangerous. Defenders, Aaron, talk to me.
I think, interestingly, Alphonso Davies, 26% owned. So that's quite high in terms of defenders. But De Ligt, 14% owned. And we know that he's kind of not starting anymore. Upamecano and Kim are the starters. Upamecano 7% owned, Kim 6% owned. There's actually more people that own Neuer than Ulrich. So 4% for Neuer, 2% for Ulrich. Hopefully they check the injury status before. Mazraoui is 1% owned. But in terms of defenders, I can't afford to get Alphonso Davies in my team. I'd probably try and get, especially against Man United. Man United are the type of team that'll nick our goal.
Yeah.
Kind of similar like they did against Arsenal.
Rashford against this lot.
Or like a Fernandez penalty or something like
Yeah.
that, with Upamecano just not being in control of his body. But the fact that I think Kim at 5 million is a good shout, because he's the type of player to add solidity to that back line. I would love if De Ligt and Kim could play together. I think that's a much better defense, but
Both left-footed.
exactly. And they don't tend to like that very much.
No.
So, but in terms of picking the team, if I had to choose a Bayern Munich defender for this match, which I would try to avoid, it would be one of the 5 million defenders.
I'd actually go for Mazraoui. He's not got an attack and return yet, but we saw how capable he is for Ajax. And because I don't really want to go for any of them. I just don't think Bayern Munich defenders are good picks. I certainly don't want to pay 6 million for one, as good as he is, when you can have Joao Cancelo.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Or Hakimi. You went through a list before of 6 millions and 5.5s, and there's just better picks. So if I had to have one, I'd rather save the 0.5 and have one that's capable still of getting attacking returns. Midfield, Kimmich, 2 assists in his last game. That's what he's done this season. He's played very well. Goretzka has been excellent as is the other player in that double pivot. Although he does tend to bomb on a little more as well. As ever, slight rotations in the front three, that player behind Harry Kane. But Kingsley Coman seems to have locked his place on the left wing. And Leroy Sané has locked his place on the right. Leroy Sané has 3 goals this season to Kingsley Coman's 0. I'm a big Coman fan, but however, Tuchel's play doesn't seem to be suiting all too well. Musiala, Gnabry, and Muller have all played as the number 10. So I'd probably avoid them just because you're not sure which one's going to play. If you want one of those players, I think Leroy Sané is your man with 3 goals. Just makes sense. We normally have to jump around between the midfielders. This seems pretty easy this year compared to normal. Have you got any? Is there any that you tell people to consider?
Sane is in my team currently. He's 9 million. Musiala's 8.5. I think that 0.5 difference is worth it. I think in terms of obviously Coman, he's 8, so he's cheaper than Musiala, which is weird because he has just come up with so many clutch goals. Yeah. He's helped your fantasy team out a lot. So I think in terms of as a team, it is nice knowing that there's less rotation than normal. And so that really helps us out. I think the biggest thing is just monitoring a few of the injuries. Obviously, you've mentioned about Musiala, but Kimmich has pulled up with a little bit of an injury in international duty.
Oh, wow, another one.
It seems to be a trend with international duties injuries.
If he's out,
I think it boosts the appeal of some of the Man U, but also weakens the appeal of the Bayern Munich defense.
I think it 100% weakens the appeal of everything. Kimmich, in that role, the type of player that he is, I think he's the best in the world at it, is that deep-lying playmaker that is still aggressive, that can still tackle. He's like a very different player to like a Rodri, for example. Them two in the midfield together would be frightening.
Well, there was the rumours about that in Man City, wasn't it, over the summer? That
Kimmich, they're going to try and get Kimmich.
Yeah, and as soon as if that had have happened, it was game over.
It's already game over.
Yeah,
but yeah. He's in.
I think they would have won every game.
Yeah. So if he's out, because he's got such an array of attacking talent from a holding midfield position, it does diminish other people's potential in this team.
He could still be fit. They are running some tests, but he pulled out of the Germany squad before France.
That's something to monitor. Harry Kane, 3 goals, one of them was a pen and an assist. He's 10 million.
He's cheaper than other forwards.
He is so cheap. After this first game, he is nailed in a limitless team against Copenhagen. I think once this man, I've got him in my team at the minute regardless, but let's say I brought him out. After this Man United game, he is straight in. He's in.
I think that's literally the reason why his percentage is so low. Well, it's 22%, but I think after this match day, I think that's going to be a lot higher. I don't know if it'll be as close to Haaland's ownership or Bellingham's ownership, but I do think that it'll be close to like the 40s, 50%.
I've currently got Kane. I've currently got Sane. Have you? Have you got the both in at the minute?
I do have them both in.
Right then. So I think before we move on to Man United, the last team in the group, who's the better pick if you just had one?
Kane.
Why? I don't know why I said that so menacingly.
I would say Harry Kane because of the like just in terms of his goal scoring record in the Champions League when he played for Tottenham, who are considerably worse team than Bayern Munich, especially this current Bayern Munich. I think that record's been beaten now, but he was the fastest player to get 20 goals. I think Haaland or Mbappe have that now.
Haaland.
But he has a really good record in the Champions League in terms of minutes per goal. I don't have the exact number, but it is almost like a goal per game that he has in the Champions League. And Harry Kane is one of them players where whether you rate him as top tier striker or not, he does like to chase records. He is very motivated with these type of records. And he's come to Bayern Munich to win silverware, to kind of put that to bed. And so I do think Bayern Munich have a good chance of providing that. And I think he'll do very well.
I'm just thinking of Man United not having a left back playing against Leroy Sané.
I mean, I'm not just because I'm saying Harry Kane's a better pick doesn't mean that Sané is a bad pick.
Why are you saying Sané is the worst pick ever, Aaron? Why are you saying that?
What do you mean? I would rather choose an Antwerp player than
On to Man United. We don't need to go with again for anyone watching this for the first time. Other than that Man City group that we did, because there is actually quite a lot to unpick there. We tend not to go too much into the English teams because we'll watch them every week. Everyone watches them every week. So you know who they've signed, you know who they've not signed, you know who they've sold, all that sort of stuff. You know the results. They've won 2, lost 2. Injury-wise, just for people to be aware, Sean Malacia injured, Mount's injured, Diallo's injured, Varane's injured, but I think Martinez is fine. The Butcher is absolutely fine. I think he just bottled it against Arsenal, but they said there was nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, he 100% bottled it.
So
he's just like one of them players where you would love to just
kick him.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got an annoying face and a worse haircut.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd very much like to win a very evenly and fair tackle against him.
He's the type of player that when you play football with them, wipes you out. And then it's like, what happened?
And then as soon as you touch him, he cries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man United players. Lindelof, 4.5 million. I'm just going to read through a list. Dalot, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 5 million. Who's the best value between them three, or any of them any value at all?
I'm quite interested to see the ball recoveries for Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, against Kingsley Coman.
Just because, I feel like whenever you see him in the Premier League, it's just like a big reach and slide tackle to win the ball. And he does get forward. Is he the best at it? No, but he does get forward. He's a lot better at it over the last few seasons.
Can you believe he was £50 million 4 years ago, Smith?
It's actually madness.
Wow.
But in terms of all of them, he is not the most owned defender for Man United, and none of them that you've mentioned are.
Varane, Shaw,
2% for Varane.
Shaw,
no.
Martinez,
no.
Harry Maguire,
no.
Johnny Evans,
no.
Malacia,
no. I should have just told you. Eric Bailly.
What
is the most owned defender for Man United?
I could have been here all night and
I think that's
tomorrow.
I think that's why I put you out your misery.
Does Eric Bailly even play for Man United
I
anymore?
think it's his price, 4 million.
Just there are awful 4 million defenders in this game. Just go buy one of them. Go to who I'm sure we said some terrible ones here.
Shaw is 1%. Wan-Bissaka is 1%. Yeah, there's a
Go if you've got Eric Bailly, just get Battens or Boost. I can't remember what his name is now from Feyenoord. 4 million defender from Feyenoord. He might not even play, but at least that's a might.
Yeah, might, rather than Eric Bailly, he just won't. I think the biggest travesty is that the most owned player from Man United is Onana, 6 million, 10% owned. Half that percentage, and then Bruno Fernandes is 9.5. Casemiro, 6 million. He's not been great.
Yeah, he's not the same Casemiro that we know and love from this game. When he was
Højlund is next at 3% owned, and then Rashford at 2% owned.
Yeah, well, so for me, I think
it's just because of this first game for a lot.
Yeah,
some of these players.
I also think Bruno Fernandes is horrifically overpriced at 9.5 million. That's a joke.
Yeah, what would you have priced him as?
I would have priced him between 8 and 8.5. He's a pen taker, but
I wonder how many ball recoveries he would get.
I think if he's 8.5 million, I think that's fair. I think 8.5 because I still don't think you'd have him for Man United, but 8.5 million against Copenhagen, he cannot be more than Leroy Sané. I don't care if he's on pens. Leroy Sané's on free kicks and he can score them.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of don't get. He's the same price as Kvaratskhelia and like that sort of thing. When you consider how good or poor Man United, or inconsistent, not poor, how inconsistent Man United have been, in that he's a bit of a points dodger, Fernandes. Like he scored a pen, then he got an assist, I think, in their 3-2 win before Arsenal, but was that Nottingham Forest were 2-0 down? That's not happening against Bayern, by the way. You go 2-0 down to Bayern, you're dead. So I just don't think that's great value. I think your value is Eriksen at 6 million. He has a goal and an assist, and again, probably takes some of the free kicks, takes some set pieces, corners.
Was his assist? Quick question of this though: was his assist the one against with Rashford when he ran against Arsenal?
Yeah, he got
because Eriksen got an assist for that, but a lot of that was Rashford.
Yes, but
I mean, it still counts. It still counts for fantasy.
Passing the ball in this game, who knows? Might have been counted as a solo goal,
which is always the risk. This game is a lot harsher than Fantasy Premier League when it comes to solo goals.
Yeah. So if you are passing to a midfield dynamo,
I don't think Eriksen would have had that goal counted, assist counted.
Do you reckon? I think he might have been all right, just about, because I think he's played him right through. In Rashford, if Rashford takes one touch onto his left, smashes it across goal, it's an assist. He's taken the choice to put it on his right and just take his time a little bit. But I think it's more of a timing thing. I don't think he's beaten loads of players. I think Eriksen would have got it, but you're right, it's on the fence.
Still, for 6 million though, he is the best value, especially when Casemiro is, for some reason, the other most owned midfielder. Eriksen is a lot better value than Casemiro.
People from past experience on this game go, "Oh yeah, Casemiro used to get loads of points because he used to be a ball recovery magnet."
That's when he used to be able to move actually around the field.
And then he used to score from set pieces every other week.
I think I saw a stat that he is the most dribbled past player
this season.
I
also feel sorry for him because he's getting outmanned 3-1 in that midfield. Well, especially when Mount was in there, not because I actually don't think it was Mount's fault. It's because they tried to play the Pep system of the four behind the forward, and none of the fullbacks had come in to help them out, and he'd just be like 3-on-1 against Wolves. So he's not. It's a combination of, I don't think he's been helped by the manager's tactics, and I don't think he's been very good. Up front, Højlund 7 million, Rashford 10. Like, Rashford's just been priced out. He can't be the same price as Harry Kane. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Maybe against Copenhagen, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
But that's like you've got to wait for 3 or 4 weeks before you get to anything like that.
Yeah.
And Hoyland, I think it'll be good value. It's 7 million, but I'd rather have one of those 7.5s at the minute. Again, maybe when you that's the thing with Rashford, because he's going to play on the left. If you've got Hoyland up front and Rashford on the left, I think you'd rather pick Hoyland against Copenhagen, not Rashford, personally.
Yeah.
What's the score for this game?
I have Bayern Munich win. I'll have Man U scoring. I'll say 3-1.
Same. Stealing my answers. I hate you. Never doing this with you again. So that's that for this group in terms of picks. We do have to decide on the group order, though. So who do you think is going to finish first, second, third, fourth?
Bayern Munich first. I will say Man United second. Galatasaray third. And Copenhagen fourth.
My head says exactly the same as you, but as a man that rarely listens to his head, because I am a fool, I'm going to say Bayern Munich, Galatasaray, Man United, Copenhagen.
Oh.
Woo! Bring it on. If you have put up with our terrible crack for this long, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. We will be back with the next group preview straight away after this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, even if you more than likely did not like this at all. Feel free to subscribe to us, the main event, and subscribe to Gallowgate Shots. Follow us on Twitter at UCL Fantasy Pod so that we can tweet all these out. And we will see you next time. Bye now.